The legislative session has started, and so the wrangling begins. The Senate president is here to tell us what's in store as lawmakers battle the budget. Also, we have an economist from the Connecticut Business and Industry Association here to talk dollars and cents and help prepare us for how the state's budget might affect our own. And we're going to take a look back at the inauguration of the new governor, the celebration before the work. Hi, you're watching The Real Story. I'm Lori Perez. It is a new day with a new governor and perhaps a new approach to the state's looming $3.5 billion budget deficit. Here to talk about the budget battle ahead and other issues that might be tackled in the session is reporter Christine Stewart of CT News Junkie, Senate President Donald Williams, and Chris Keating, the Current's Capitol Bureau Chief. Thanks all for being here. Senator, if you could talk to us, just give your reaction to the tone that was set by Governor Malloy.
You know, I thought he set exactly the right tone. Everybody knows that across the country right now we're facing the worst fiscal times of our lifetime. The economic recession has not abated. We have no recovery on Main Street in Connecticut or across the country. Dan Malloy is out there now talking about the real problems, the actual depth of the crisis for the state of Connecticut. He's not mincing words about it, and he wants to lead us out not only by tackling the budget problem, but also talking about the need to get back on track for the economy, start creating jobs again.
Was there anything, I know he hasn't released a lot of details, and the devil will be in those details, but was there anything surprising to you or alarming?
No, I'll tell you, not surprising, not alarming, refreshing is what I would say. 2 years ago, we spent the entire session trying to get agreement with the governor as to the true depth of the deficit. And we found that folks were ignoring about $2.5 billion worth of the deficit. We have a governor now who's saying, you know what, I want to face up to the challenges right from the first day. He wants to have transparency in terms of the governing process, the accounting of the deficit, and he's ready to roll up his sleeves. He's saying, you know what, Democrats, Republicans, let's work together on these very, very tough challenges.
And with that new accounting, the suggestion is that the budget deficit that we know of will increase.
That's right.
Chris?
Part of the what Dan Malloy keeps talking about is shared sacrifice. I wanted to know, what is your definition of shared sacrifice, and does that include more concessions by state employees?
You know, my definition of shared sacrifice is looking at every area of state spending, every agency, every department, every constituency that depends on the state for funding, and for each one of those entities to look at every dollar they spend and figure out ways to save money, have greater efficiency. You know, we've got to be frank with folks. At this point, there's just not enough revenue coming in to take care of all of the spending that's gone on in the past. The economic downturn has hurt Connecticut and 49 other states in that same way. So we have to change. We have to change, because at the end of the day, the budget has to be balanced. We have to have a pathway to economic recovery and still have the ability to give a hand up to those people who have been hurt the most by the economic recession.
And would you say that means that nobody should expect an increase? No agency, no department, nobody should expect an increase?
You know, all that is yet to be determined in terms of, you're talking specifically about state employees, but I would go beyond that and talk about each one of our programs, the services, the layers of bureaucracy. All of that is going to be on the table.
He was a little critical earlier this week, saying that the budget that the Democrats had passed basically thought that revenues would increase and that the economy would return to normal, and it hasn't. And he said you guys should have known that. Is that fair of him to criticize?
You know, I think that is fair criticism. You know, if you do go back, though, to 1991, the last big economic downturn, or 2001, the next in line in terms of a serious recession, 2 years after the fact, there was a recovery. We did see the economic trends coming back. We did see the creation of jobs and revenue coming back. This recession is the worst of our lifetime, the worst, many people say, since the Great Depression. And we're not out of it now, and we won't be in the future. And if Connecticut looked at a quicker recovery than actually happened based on recessions of the past, you know, 49 other states pretty much did the same thing. Now we have to adjust. The recovery is coming more slowly than folks want or than they predicted. So now we have to adjust to that economic reality.
Is that frustrating? You finally have a Democratic governor and you have all these ideas and policies you wanted to implement for so long, and now's your chance to do it, and now you have this economy and it's possible that you won't be able to?
You know, sure, Christina, at one level it is very frustrating that in these tough economic times we're really up against the wall. And it's the first time in 20 years that we have a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature. Looking at it in another way, I would not want it any other way, because in this time of the worst challenge that we face, we need all hands on deck. We need a government that is pulling in the same direction. And now, for the first time in 20 years, you have a governor and a legislature coming from the same place in terms of values and principles. And these are the values and principles that the vast majority of the people of Connecticut share. That's why we have strong majorities in the legislature. That's why we have a Democratic governor. And the people of Connecticut are now counting on us to face up to these challenges, which Governor Malloy is doing, and to address them and to solve them.
Do you think that prior efforts to reduce spending throughout agencies across the state and programs across the state have not been thorough enough or realistic enough, or what has it been?
I don't think they've been comprehensive enough, and I think that they've been done in an adversarial way. And here's a chance where I think that we can make a difference, because with a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature, you've already seen Governor Malloy talk about inviting the labor folks, the state employees, to the table, not as adversaries, not as folks to be punished, but as folks to put their ideas on the table. You know, over the years, I've met with state employees who work in the trenches out across the state. They have their own stories about, like, the U.S. Defense Department, the $1,000 toilet seat or the $500 hammer, money that's wasted by the state of Connecticut, and they say that their ideas have not been implemented or utilized. That's going to change. We need everybody at the table understanding it is, as Governor Malloy said, time for shared sacrifice.
Also, does the shared sacrifice, if it is actually shared and it is fair and it is on everyone, does that mean a tax increase on everyone?
That remains to be seen as well. But again, Governor Malloy, to his credit, has not ruled anything in or out. He says that, you know, you can't cut your way 100% out of this, or you can't tax your way 100% out of it. I do know that we have far too many tax expenditures, tax spending, the loopholes, the subsidies, the breaks for the special interests that get put on the books over the years and never get scrutinized again. It's time to put that $4 or $5 billion worth of subsidies and loopholes on the table and make folks justify those, make them prove that they contribute to our economy. And if they don't, let's get rid of them.
And has there just been no will to get rid of those in the past? Why are they still there?
It's full employment for the lobbyists, quite frankly. Every one of those special breaks and special interests has advocates and lobbyists who come to fight for it. But again, this is a time of shared sacrifice. Now, more than ever, is the time to put those on the table and force folks to justify them, to prove that they actually preserve or create jobs.
As a leader of the Democratic Party, are you concerned? Governor Malloy took several lawmakers from the legislature, so there will be 9, possibly 10, if Representative Leone runs for Andrew McDonald's seat, open seats. Are you looking at retaining those?
Of course.
Well, I mean,
are you worried about losing any of them?
Are you worried? You know, in special election, not many people turn out. Republicans, you know, do have a good shot at some of those seats based on the districts.
Well, first of all, let me say I'm thrilled that in the state Senate we have Don DeFranzo, who will be serving in the Malloy administration, Andrew McDonald serving in the Malloy administration. These are terrific people, knowledgeable public servants, and they're going to help in meeting all these challenges we've been talking about. But you're right. It means in the short term, as we're working on the budget and these other issues, we'll have special elections in the Senate and the House. It just means that we've got to meet those challenges as well, and we will.
Are you looking forward to it, or kind of trepidatious about the beginning, or what?
Now, I've been anxious to get started. You know, yesterday was a great day, but I talked with a number of folks in the Malloy administration as well as our own legislators, and the feeling was kind of mutual. You know, we've all been waiting to really dive into this. The budget's due in the latter half of February. We know that these challenges are just tremendous. So I think you've got a lot of people who are wound up and ready to go, and as of today, that's what's happening.
All right. Well, we wish you good luck. Thanks for stopping by. Up next, Money Talk with business advocate and economist Pete Gioia.